What if your career stress is not staying in your mind? What if it is actually entering your knees, your posture, your bones, your skin, your stamina, and even your ability to stand firmly in life? And what if the 10th house is not only about profession, status, and duty, but about the body's capacity to carry responsibility? That is what I want to open up with you today. Because when I look at the 10th house through a Jyotish Ayurveda lens, I do not just see career, I see structure, I see load-bearing capacity, I see the price the body pays when responsibility becomes excessive, dry, pressured, unsupported, or emotionally disconnected. And when Vata rises here, you and I are no longer dealing with ambition alone. We are dealing with instability in the very system that helps a person stand, endure, and keep showing up. The 10th house governs the knees, lower thighs, upper calves, skeletal framework, bones, skin, and associated structural regulation in the body. So immediately this house has a strong relationship with support, weight bearing, alignment, motion under pressure, and long-term endurance. Now think about Vata. Vata is dry, light, cold, mobile, irregular, and degenerative when aggravated. So when Vata enters the 10th house in a disturbed way, the person may not simply feel stressed. The person may begin to feel structurally unreliable inside their own life. The body starts speaking the language of instability. You may see poor endurance while standing for long periods. You may see difficulty bearing physical load. You may see postural weakness, slouching, joint sounds, progressive wear, brittleness, and a feeling that the system is not holding itself together as well as it should. That is not random. That is a structural Vata signature through the 10th house field. And psychologically, this gets even deeper. The 10th house is also authority, responsibility, public role, performance pressure, and the burden of being seen. So when Vata rises here, the mind can begin to express fear around performance, instability around career direction, difficulty sustaining long effort, anxiety about public failure, and that private feeling many people never confess openly. I do not know if I can hold all of this. That is a 10th house Vata fracture of confidence. The person's ability to stand firm begins weakening both physically and psychologically. Now let us go deeper into the planets emphasized here, because this is where the teaching becomes clinically useful for healers and genuinely insightful for astrology students. First, Saturn. If I had to choose one graha that most naturally resonates with 10th house Vata burden, it is Saturn. Saturn governs slowing down, suppression, chronicity, emaciation, coldness, nerve-related depletion, arthritis-like tendencies, and long-standing complaints. It also has direct association with thighs, knees, and calves in the planetary health logic. So Saturn in or influencing this zone can make the 10th house feel heavy externally but depleted internally. The person may keep performing, keep carrying duty, keep showing up, but underneath the system is drying out, hardening, tiring, and losing resilience. This is one of the great paradoxes I want you to understand. Saturn can make a person look responsible while quietly making them brittle. That means the healer must not be impressed only by discipline. That means the astrologer must not praise endurance without checking the cost of endurance. Now look at Moon. Moon governs mind, emotions, food, fluids, taste, blood-related tendencies, lethargy, drowsiness, water retention, and mental fluctuation. Moon also carries a Vata Kapha nature in the dosha framework, which means it can swing between emotional heaviness and emotional instability depending on what is being triggered. In a 10th house Vata context, Moon often shows why the person cannot separate work pressure from emotional security. Their public role is no longer just public, it becomes personal, it becomes maternal, it becomes psychological. They are not just trying to succeed, they are trying to feel safe through success. So what happens if Moon is involved? Career anxiety can become emotional depletion. Responsibility can disturb food rhythm, sleep rhythm, and inner regulation. The mind can become dry, not because there is no feeling, but because feeling is overexposed to pressure. Then comes Venus. Most people do not first think of Venus when they think of 10th house structural Vata. But that would be a mistake. Venus carries a Kapha Vata pattern and is linked to water element, reproductive vitality, organic matter, kidneys, bladder, bodily luster, and refined nourishment. When Venus is pulled into a disturbed Vata field, the person may start alternating between dryness and congestion, duty and pleasure, performance and depletion. In plain words, life loses lubrication. And when life loses lubrication, the body often follows. The person may continue to perform professionally, but joy becomes scheduled. Beauty becomes secondary. Recovery becomes inconsistent. And the nervous system begins paying for every unreleased strain. In healers, this can show up as compassion fatigue with outward grace. In professionals, it can show up as a polished image with hidden depletion. In astrology students, this is where you must learn not to read Venus only as relationships and luxury. Sometimes Venus tells you where life stopped flowing. And then Ketu reduces, Ketu cuts, Ketu depletes. Ketu is associated with abnormal reduction, deficiencies, dissociation, confusion, endocrine type deficiency patterns, and a subtle disconnect from embodied continuity. In the body health model, Ketu can indicate hypostates, deficiency states, and diminished integration. So when Ketu is part of a 10th house Vata story, the person may detach from career identity, but not peacefully. They may feel ungrounded in purpose. They may keep functioning outwardly while inwardly feeling separated from the meaning of what they are doing. This is crucial. Not every burnout is loud. Some burnout is silent disconnection. Some burnout is the person still doing the work, but no longer feeling fully inside the work. That is Ketu's edge in a Vata disturbed 10th house. Now let me bring all of this together for you. When Saturn afflicts, the burden becomes chronic. When Moon gets involved, the burden becomes emotional. When Venus gets involved, the burden dries out nourishment and relational ease. When Ketu gets involved, the burden can hollow out identity and meaning. So the 10th house Vata pattern is not merely career stress. It is a breakdown of support between duty, structure, emotion, nourishment, and purpose. And this is where healers need rigor. Do not reduce this house to profession alone. Ask, can the person stand long? Can they bear load? Can they stay upright physically? Can they sustain responsibility psychologically? Can they receive support? Can they feel secure without overperforming? Can they work without drying out their tissues, mind, and sense of meaning? That is the real reading. And for astrology students, here is the practical insight. Whenever you judge the 10th house in health-sensitive work, do not stop at success and karma. Read the body. Read the posture. Read the joints. Read the skin. Read the emotional cost of responsibility. Read whether the native is carrying destiny in a regulated way or in a brittle way. Because the body always reveals how karma is being carried. If this teaching helped you see the 10th house in a deeper and more clinically meaningful way, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And if you are someone who wants a deeper wellness-oriented astrological reading through the Jyotish Ayurveda lens, visit astrovagmi.com. I want you to leave with this one line. When Vata disturbs the 10th house, the question is not only, what are you doing in the world? The real question is, what is the cost to your structure of carrying what you do? Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one.